Hi there, this is Izzy, and I'm a bit of an orchid addict. But I must admit that my relationship with orchids has actually changed recently. So, why am I here talking to you about this and what's changed? Well, my orchid addiction has certainly gathered pace. So, you might have noticed I've bought quite a few compared to what I had originally, so my collection has more than doubled in size. And I have also really branched out on the species and genera that I am growing. So here you can see the latest additions to that collection. You can see this absolutely stunning Cattleya intermedia variant orlata, which is a warm growing Cattleya species that grows through Brazil, Guatemala, around the coasts. Fantastic flowers there. Absolutely gorgeous. And we've also got a little unkaku at the bottom to replace my dead unkaku, poor thing, and a Darwinara Rainbow Stars Blue, or what I sincerely hope is a Darwinara Rainbow Stars Blue, but we can talk about that another day. But this has meant I've started to do some new things and I've learnt to do some new things that it might be worth me sharing with you. So I thought I'd go through with you the stages that my orchid addiction has taken, the stage I'm at now, and maybe some of you out there can tell me where this is going. Let's start with my first phase of orchid addiction. Phase 1, early success. I got my first orchids at university. My mum also got some before then, and I thought they were absolutely amazing. But I think what hooked me fairly early on was that I had success with them. I had these shop bought phals, and they were doing really well, and they were reblooming for me. It was brilliant. And I was like, I've got these weird plants, they seem to be doing well, I don't know what's going on, but it's great. The fact that I kept them alive and blooming pushed me over into phase 2, multiplication. The orchids kept on multiplying. So I went from having one orchid to having several fairly quickly. So I stayed in this phase for quite a while, buying a couple of plants here, buying a couple of plants there, finding out that, I couldn't keep them all alive, but I didn't know why. Which led me towards phase 3, revelation. There are a lot more orchids out there than shop-bought phals and shop-bought complex hybrids. Now at this point, I took perhaps a slightly unusual turn and decided that seedlings were the way to go to expand my orchid collection out into lots more genera and species. I think it's perhaps more sensible to go in the direction of more mature plants. It's certainly a little harder to keep seedlings alive, but I enjoyed the fun and I enjoyed the learning as I went, which pushed me straight into my 4th phase, which was going back to school. I clearly had bought a lot of new kinds of orchids and had a lot more to learn about their culture. There were failures along the way, there have been dead orchids, and at this stage I also gained a little bit of a neophonitia obsession. So I've now got to phase 5. I have technically run out of space. But I don't think anyone ever really runs out of space for orchids. There's always room for one more. But this is where I've noticed the changes coming in. So at this point, I've noticed it's pretty tough to water all the orchids. So I'm interested in trying potting methods, possibly in organic media or self-watering pots, or all kinds of different things that might make my collection slightly more manageable. I've also recently come around to the idea that I might need to start taking records. So this is another change. Prior to this point, I could keep all the information about my orchids relatively well in my head, but right now I just have a few too many for that to be feasible. And then there's the other big thing. Do I get any specialist equipment? Do I get lights? Do I start to get a specialist growing environment? Now I'm quite far away from taking any of those decisions yet, but on the light front I can certainly see the advantages. So that was a run through of how my orchid addiction progressed from the very beginning up to the present day. But in the present day, I've really noticed the change that's come with a rapid expansion and with having this many orchids. A change in needing equipment, a change in needing to keep records, a change in having to decide whether I have the space for an orchid. So if you're well beyond this phase, you can probably give me some hints as to where this is going next. I am thoroughly enjoying this journey, and I'm really pleased to be able to share these orchids with you and to get your feedback as I go. That's it for this week. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to hear more, just subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.